Good evening, everybody. It's Monday night. It's time for a nervous chat. Hope everybody's well and had a lovely weekend. What we've had, well, it's 2 weekends in a row now. We've had a pretty good weather, so perfect for getting out to the parks. Unfortunately, perfect for everybody else turning up to the parks and making them a bit busy as well. But we can't win them all, can we? Before we crack on with tonight's guest, just got a couple of announcements that I'd like to make, as I always invariably have. First of all, Saturday night, 2 Saturdays in a row, Nick from Walking with the Woods has got another quiz for us. This one all about girl bands. I've just got a little promo here for you. So that's this Saturday at 8 p.m. over on Walking with the Woods YouTube channel. I've included the link in the description for tonight's video. Anybody fancy coming along to play, test your knowledge about girl bands? I believe Nick's gone right back to the 1950s, so the likes of the Supremes and people like that. So it should give everybody a fair shout, including oldies like me. And then, as a little extra bonus, some will call it a bonus. Nick and I are having a little pre-quiz chat. I've got another VT for that. Join me and Nick on Saturday at 7 p.m, just before the girl bands quiz, as we talk about some of the girl bands we've loved through the years and so much more. That's this Saturday at 7 p.m, before the girl bands quiz on the Anxious Rider YouTube channel. So please join us from 7 p.m. on my channel. I'll be adding a live redirect to the end of my live to take you straight over to the quiz if you decide to tune in for the pre-quiz show. Right, let's just see who's in the chat tonight. We've got M, Oscar's Airtime. Thank you very much for joining, M. Red Balloon, Single Rider Q. Thank you very much for joining. Nick, Walking with the Woods, Speak of the Devil, and he's here. I've got M. I'm not sure M. You might M. Just coming up as M, if you'd like to identify yourself. I don't recognize the name. Is that Disney MUK? Coasters with moi. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining tonight. So I think that's everybody at the moment that's commented. If you want me to shout out, obviously drop yourself in the comments and I will bring you up on the screen and welcome you if I recognize your channels. So without further ado, pretty well-known people tonight. Most of you, I think, will have come across them in some form or another. They are quite prolific YouTubers and thoroughly nice people to boot. So without further ado, let's welcome in. I'm not German, but they've been to Germany. Let's welcome in tonight's guests, Dan and Paris from Ginger and Brown. Good evening, guys.
Hello, mate.
How are you?
Thanks for having us on.
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Yes, dashed home from work as always on a Monday night. It's always a bit of a rush. I finish work at 7, cycle home, literally walk through the door at about 22, and then jump in here at 1:45. So it's sometimes a bit of a rush. But
hi everyone in the chat. Hi everyone in the chat. Coming up, just saying hello.
Yeah. Oh, Dave's Adventures. Lovely to see you, Dave. I'm just going to run through some of these messages and bring them up so people can see. Well, I suppose, guys, let's start from the very beginning, because obviously, you know, as with every guest, I go right the way back through your YouTube. I suppose the question that's on everybody's minds is, why did you start your YouTube channel?
I'll let you start this, Paris.
Well, the YouTube channel actually started just from me. So I was doing makeup because I am a professionally qualified makeup artist, and I thought, I'm doing all these looks and just putting pictures on Instagram, and then I just thought, do you know what, one day let's just film it. Let me just film it and see how it goes. So I bought the worst camera possible. Do you remember the camera?
Yeah.
It was dreadful. The worst thing I've probably ever bought. And yeah, I sort of developed from there, didn't I? Got a better camera. And then Dan's mum got married and she was vlogging. So she said, "Oh, Paris, can you just vlog this bit for me?" And I was like, "Oh, okay then." So I did a little bit with the camera, and I was like, I'm quite good on camera. Let's see where this goes. So I
Didn't
thought,
you start a little bit before that, though, doing little bits and bobs with our days out? And I would never be on camera.
No.
I never wanted to be on camera.
This was after it.
Was it?
Yeah, because I asked everyone. I put like a poll out, and I said, "Does everyone think I should start vlogging?" And a lot of people were like, "Yeah, you're great on camera." Which, to be fair, I have got a performing degree as well.
She's a bag of all trades.
I am. I'm a jack of all trades. I've got everything. So I obviously thought, yeah, I'll do some vlogging. And I was doing it, and Dan was always like in the background, just shying away because
she put the camera on me now and then, but I didn't really want to be on. And then over time, we kind of committed to it. We changed the channel name. It's been over a year now.
It took a while to get a channel name. Dan was doing.
It's been over a year. We decided that you hadn't actually uploaded any kind of makeup content for a while, so we took a bit of time coming up with a name.
You took forever. I settled on Ginger and Brown.
What was the one I wanted? The Travelling 2.
Yeah, the Travelling 2.
Because it classed as the Travelling 2, but travelling to different places kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was like Ginger and Brown because he's got ginger hair.
We put a poll out, and more people come back with Ginger and Brown. So then we made the logo, and that's it. And then over time, I've just gradually got a little bit better on camera. I still get a bit awkward.
He does. Especially when it comes to like if he knows people are around, or
even if families with us, like, if it's just me and Paris, and we're if it's just me and you and we're somewhere, especially in a park that we've never been to, I'm not really bothered.
At like Germany and stuff, it just wasn't bothered because obviously it was just me and Dan. But
so yeah, that was quite a long answer, but basically, yeah, that was it. It started as a makeup channel and then progressed through to a vlogging channel with theme parks.
Yeah, because as I say, obviously I went right the way back and was lovely, pleasantly surprised at the makeup videos, and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Didn't realize that's how it had started. And then of course the first vlog that I came across was the one at Dimmingsdale. Which starts off wonderfully with Paris shouting at you, Dan. I noticed.
I don't remember.
That's because you were doing Bear Grylls and you were going up the wrong way, and I was like, Dan, where are you going? You're like, I'm just going to go this way. And do you know what? That day, it got us lost, didn't you? And we ended up in someone's back garden.
Don't spoil the vlog for the people that might go and watch it.
And it was just like, oh gosh, Oscar's airtime, you can do my makeup.
Sorry, but Coaster Tog's comments hilarious.
Oh no, Sam, I'm sorry, but it's not called Ginger or Brown. To be fair, my last name is Brown. But
right, anyway, we're going off track.
Dan didn't.
It's actually interesting because I actually was in the same group here as Sam. I actually thought that Ginger and Brown were your surnames, and that maybe there was something ironic that Paris, your surname was Ginger, and that it was all a kind of a play on irony somehow.
Yeah.
I thought it can't be as obvious as ginger hair, brown hair.
My last name is Brown though, so a lot of people was like, "Oh, well, it could class as like your last names," but I was like, it could for me, but not for Dan. But it also works as like when we get married, it still sort of fits because obviously he's got ginger hair, I've got brown hair, so it's still kind of. When we get married.
See, we thought we made the logo obvious enough that's why we've got the simple face outline and then
the bright ginger hair and the
brown hair. But obviously, it doesn't come across as we expected it to. So yeah, the answer is it's based on hair color, not second names.
Fair enough. I agree though that trying to find a channel name can be quite a thing because you think of all these different names and then you type them into YouTube. Oh. Somebody's already got that.
Someone's got it. Yeah.
Somebody's already got that. It's like I wanted Anxious Rider because ride anxiety and all that. Typed it into YouTube, already exists. I was like, oh, really? And actually, the person that owns the Anxious Rider channel hasn't put anything on YouTube for a good long time.
Yeah.
But because he's got it, I can't have it.
Yeah.
So then I thought, well, I'll just add the 78 because that's the year I was born. Sadly, no, Sam, I didn't put my age at the end of it.
That's cheeky.
Block him.
Do you know what? It's very lucky that Sam and I are very good friends, and he gives me that kind of tip all the time, and he gets it back equally. So I don't mind. I can take it from Sam. It's all meant in good humour. But yeah, so it can be quite tricky, and obviously, as Coastalitical here are saying, they change their name sometimes, and I've had people change their names on me, and then me go, and then the message with like the new name, and go, hold on, who are you? and then have to say, you know, sorry, I don't know who you are, and then them go, oh well, we used to be, right, now I know who you are. It's yeah,
but yeah, picking the name is definitely
it was you that was like, no, we should have this and that. And
I mean, when
no.
you think of what we're kind of doing, our main thing, we go theme parks, but we've kept it. We wanted to go with something that didn't just lead us to theme parks, that allowed us to do other things, like a daily vlog that we've done when we went to Wales, or the Dimmingsdale, or like vlogs over Christmas and stuff, you know, like Christmas Eve or whatever, New Year's Eve and so on. If you have a theme park-ish kind of name, it kind of limits you down one road of
theme parks.
Yeah.
I agree, and I actually love your channel name. It's as Sam said, it's really simple, so easy to remember. You know, the logo that you've got as well, it does explain it. You know, and it's a lovely, simple logo. You know, it's and
took forever to make,
it
didn't
does
it?
what it's.
It was back and forth with ideas constantly.
Yeah, and the simpler ones often take the longer time, don't they? Because you know, you're trying to simplify something, and you go, oh, but have I simplified it too much now? Has it lost its meaning? And you know, and yeah, it's a pain I think we all go through as YouTubers, because that logo potentially is how we'll be recognised. I changed mine this year.
Either.
No, you don't.
So a lot of people you see change the logo too often, and then you kind of lose your identity. You know, people are like, oh, who's that? Who's that? You know. So we'll be leaving ours as is, I think. I mean, I did mess around not long back with a colour change at the background, but yeah, we've not changed it. We just had a little mess around with Canva just to see if we could brighten it up a little bit. But down the line maybe. But for now, we're quite happy.
I like the purple background. I'm not going to lie. I like it. It stands out.
Paris' favourite colour. She picked that.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think it's a great choice. It's the same reason I went for the red background on my new logo, because it's bright, it pops, you know, and obviously I simplified mine right down as well, because although I loved the original logo I had, it was quite complicated, and when I tried to get quotes for printing things, it was quite expensive to get all that detail put into a logo, and couldn't get it stitched onto anything because nobody could stitch that quite fine detail. So I thought I need something a little bit more. A little bit more crisp, more clean. So hopefully this is here to stay now, because as you say, the problem is if you change it too often, people don't recognise it, and they start to go,
lose your identity a little bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think it's professional if you just keep it as is. Looks unprofessional if you change like every 12 months or something. A little refresh maybe.
We obviously we do like the Halloween one where we put like
and that's
funky masks on and stuff, but everyone does like that for.
Yeah,
but the main logo stays with just some additive bits and bobs, you know, to fit the theme of, I don't know, Christmas or Halloween or whatever it'll be.
You're moving so much that this camera keeps blurring because your hands are
going like talk a lot with my hands, so if the camera starts shaking, I'm like
blurring.
My wife says that if you ever cut my arms off, I'd be speechless. Because you can't see my arms, but literally, my arms are moving as much as yours. They're just off camera, so you don't see it as much. But yes, I'm the same as you, Dan. I talk with my hands. I'm very much a gesticulator. I just don't feel like the meaning comes across properly unless there's a hand movement that goes with it.
I agree. I'd have been great in another life as an orchestra. You know, is that what you call them?
No, the orchestra's the full band.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, the one that... you know what I mean. What are they called?
I can't remember what
but so you know what I mean.
Conductor.
The conductor, that's the one.
I couldn't think of it then either. I was like, hold on, I know what that's called. What on earth is it called? I'm going to make myself look really stupid now. I don't know this. So, conductor. We'd make great conductors, Dan, you and me. Maybe that's a calling we haven't explored yet.
That's it, yeah.
Or maybe like a traffic police in America, you know, in the middle of the road, going this way and that way.
You might see me guiding the planes in when you're going on one of your theme park trips. I'll be there with the ping pong bat.
I just had this vision of all these planes colliding.
And just Dan like, woo!
I'm just there like, yeah, come on lads, Fantasyland's that way, Disneyland's that way.
Love it. Speaking of Fantasyland, though, actually that's a great link to something else I wanted to ask you about, because obviously a lot of your recent vlogs have been further afield than UK parks. I've seen one from Fantasyland. There was a slightly earlier one, I think, from Energylandia. I remember following your trip to Portaventura.
Can't wait to get back there.
Yeah, we're going back in July.
I'm hoping next year that I can branch out a little bit more and get out into European parks. We've what we've done is we've set up I call it a totalizer. I know that's what charities do, but a totalizer for theme park and holidays for next year. So we've got an idea of roughly what we need, and each time we put some money into that savings account, we're going to draw another bar on it, and like a pot.
That's good, yeah, good. It's not cheap, is it?
No, it's not. It's not cheap at all, and it's getting worse as well.
We
it's an expensive hobby for sure.
Oh, isn't it just? It's
Even just visiting the local parks, you know.
Yeah,
Energylandia is a very accessible park, and it's not that
expensive,
bad.
It's quite
really
cheap as well.
Yeah,
I've got a friend who one of my neighbours who's from Poland, and they were telling me that the price of food and that in Poland is actually dirt cheap. If you're British going to Poland, for Polish people it's ridiculously expensive because the relative wages aren't great. But for somebody going over and converting English pounds into Polish zloty, you know, you're essentially going over and you feel really wealthy because, you know, it's that kind of cheap. I've heard some criticisms of Energylandia though with regards to theming, that the theming wasn't amazing, but I'm not sure that it's a park that you go to for the theming. I mean, they've got, was it 17 roller coasters at the moment?
17 to be, I think, 19.
2 more opening.
Yeah.
So what we noticed was we picked up one of the brochures and it had like the theming that was supposed to be on the rides on there, but it wasn't actually on the rides. And we found out that apparently they have lost a lot of money and funding, so they've not been able to do it.
All right.
Sorry about that. They've not been able to obviously fund for the theming, so they're just trying to get all the roller coasters in and then obviously see where it goes from there. Because didn't the council?
Yeah. We heard that the local council pulled the plug on their funding, but I don't know. I heard that from a friend. I don't know how true that is. I'm sure you could do some research. We've not done any research. I'm just relaying what I was told. They got a big injection of cash.
Hence all the roller coasters.
All the investments. It was like putting in the Unlimited Sheet and Roller Coaster Tycoon for a couple of years, and then it seems Abyssus opened, and there was a lot of theming that didn't really get added. I believe it's been added now. Bits of it, not to Abyssus so much, but was that the disco ride, you know, like Cobra at Chessington. They've got one of them, and it wasn't really finished.
There was just scaffolding around it.
Yeah, it looked like it was scaffolding.
Just scaffolding around it, but now
in terms of the theming and stuff, it's not really a part you go to for theming. You just go there if you want to get your cred count up, and there's some incredible.
It's so good.
There's some pretty impressive roller coasters. It's like a roller coaster fanboy's heaven, you know.
And girl,
yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you ever saw the episode I did with the guy that designs the Lego roller coasters models that you can buy. He recently posted that I'm pretty sure it was Energylandia had commissioned him to design a Lego model of that disco that you're talking about.
Right.
Oh.
So I think they are trying to, trying to push that a bit more and get sort of people on board a bit more. But as I say, I had heard that the theming was a bit.
The theming.
It's weird because there's some areas that are
like
great.
Smogsy Grod, with the area where Zadra is incredible.
And also
it reminds me a bit of Is it Diagon Alley? Is that what you would call it?
Yeah, but I would
reminds
say...
me of that. Me personally reminds me a little bit of that, and it reminds me a bit of Kudheim, you know, the area where Taran is.
Yeah,
at
more
Fantasyland.
More
it's that kind
than
of what would you say, medieval
Norway.
kind of look. Yeah,
Nordic vibe. But also, you know where the orange one is in the log flume, the Tafifi log flume. Is that how we say it? Tafifi. Tafi.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
That round there was so much theming. Do you remember going through that tree?
So I think at the entrance of the park, that's the area where it's really lacked theming and stuff. And I think when the park started off, it was just, that's why there's a lot of travel rides kind of in that area, permanent flat rides that you would see not too out of place on like travelling first circuit
in Alton Towers.
Well, yeah.
And
then as they got cash injection, you can kind of see the change as you work your way through, looking at the RMC, Hyperion. You know, they've got like
Formula.
There's about 5 Vacomas. There's 2 Vacoma next gens in Abyssus and
that Viking ride.
Which one?
That wild mouse thing.
But yeah, there's plenty, and you can see the progression of the park as the years have gone on. So like I say, the section at the front of the park is the older section, and then as you get to the back, you can see where they've started to put the theming in, and they've invested more. They've obviously had the money to do that.
Sam, I'm just gonna say, obviously you've just said Zadra, Hyperion, Abyssus, and Formula, but what about that dragon ride? That purple dragon ride? What's it called? Do you remember when you went into the Dragon's Head?
Frida. Oh, no. Dragon XF Dragon or something.
Something like that. That was brilliant, and it was such a.
Is there a ride there, Darren, that you would be most looking forward to going on? I'm sure you know what they are.
I've got Hyperion. Hyperion just really calls out. I've watched a lot of POVs now. On Energylandia, because it is a park I really want to go to. Probably more because I'm very much a thrill theme parker. I think I'm not as bothered about theming. I like theming, but at the end of the day, if I had to choose, I was having this discussion actually with somebody the other day, and if I had to choose between theming and thrill, I would choose thrill, because you know there's no point. You could have a beautifully themed park, but if the coasters are rubbish, it's rubbish.
This is why
that sounds like Planet Coaster.
This is why, for me, I mean, I'm a roller coaster enthusiast more than a theme park enthusiast. So this is why, for me, Disney. Don't shoot me down, anyone in the chat or you, because I know you like Disney. But this is why Disney wouldn't be on my to-do list. This is what I've never been. I mean, we planned on going to Florida, but we didn't get around to it because of COVID and whatnot. But Disney have, I think we could probably say, in terms of coasters, if you stripped all the theming back, pretty average rides, would you say? And then the theming and stuff makes them world class.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But it's the full thing. Obviously, Disney's completely different.
I've never been, so I shouldn't really say that, but that's
it's hard to compare Disney to something else because Disney's the full package. It's everything.
But then you look at what like Fantasyland are doing. They're putting in world-class attractions and world-class theming to boot. They are.
You on about your launched runaway mine training?
We're going to end up getting into it.
No, that's fine. I agree with you about the whole Disney thing, and I get shot down all the time when I say I don't get the Disney attraction. I don't get that there's channels completely dedicated to Disney. So one of the trips we've got planned next year is to go to Disneyland Paris, because everyone's saying to me, "Oh yeah, but once you get there, you'll get it, you'll understand it." And I'm like, do you know what? I want to go. Because for that, I want to go and experience it. I want to know. I want to know if they can change my mind and make me go, yeah, all right. The rides aren't amazing, but the package is amazing. You know, and see if that works.
It's not that I think I'm gonna go there and hate on it. I think it'll be unbelievable, and I'm sure I'll be like,
it's just not
immersed
the
in the theming. But I want some standout thrill rides, and I just don't believe that they are at a Disney
It's
park.
hard because
But then they're probably not meant to be at a Disney park.
No, they're not, because obviously it's meant to be for families and stuff, isn't it? I went and I was completely blown away. I am a big Disney fan.
Have you done both? Have you done Paris as well?
No. I'm a big Disney fan, but like I went there and I was like, oh my gosh, it's completely different world. Like
This is what I mean. I'm
It's
sure
hard
it is
to
incredible.
Proper explain it. Like I went to Animal Kingdom and I did Pandora. Obviously, Pandora, the Avatar area. You just walk in and you're like, how are them rocks floating? What's going on? And it's just, it's mad. It's so hard to explain until you've been there, done it.
Doesn't look as good as Rockborough though.
No. There's no doubting that the is it the Imagineers they call them?
Yeah.
Do an amazing job. You know, there's no doubting that whatsoever. I've watched live coverage of some of the shows with obviously that Nick and people have streamed from Paris, and you know, and they're just absolutely amazing. But it doesn't make me desperate to get to Disney.
I'm the same.
You know, I've said, obviously, I've got 2 children who I'm sure would absolutely love to go. You know, they love Disney movies. I love Disney movies. Don't get me wrong. This is what I think people misunderstand when I say I don't feel the Disney thing. I love Disney films. I just struggle with that. It's a lot of money. If I go there and go, I still don't get it. I'm not feeling that pull of Disney that people talk about. So as a sort of a compromise, what I've said is that if we're going to do Disneyland Paris, we're going to swing by a Parc Asterix on the way home, so that at least I can get a bit of a thrill and go, okay, well, if Disney wasn't that amazing, which I'm hoping, you know, I'm going to go with an open mind. I'm not going to go in with I'm not going to like this. I'll go in with let's check this out. Let's see what it's about, you know. But if all else fails, I'm hopefully going to have Parc Asterix on the way home. So that'll at least give me a bit of a thrill.
Is like 15 minutes from Charles de Gaulle Airport, and it's we have regular flights from Liverpool Airport, so it's definitely one we've looked at.
Yeah,
especially with their Tutatis open.
Yes, and I've heard some great things about Tutatis.
I've heard that name so many times, and it's one of
I'm a big B&M Invert fan, and I really want to do Osiris.
That's another one I've heard a lot of positive stuff about. So you know, and so I think it's and my daughter actually went with school, believe it or not, to Disneyland Paris and Parc Asterix, and she is a big Disney fan, and still said she preferred Parc Asterix, and that was before Tutatis. This was, you know, we're going back about 6 or 7 years ago. That she went, and she said that she thought that Parc Asterix for her was better because of the rides. She's more of a rides person. She loves Disney, and it was amazing, but she had a better time at Parc Asterix.
We did say, didn't we, like when we was booking Florida, we was like, oh well, we'll get in like Universal, we'll try and get to Fun Spot, we'll try and do like SeaWorld, so we'll get obviously the thrill as well as the Disney parks as well. So it's like, when I went in 2018, I did I did Universal, I did Disney.
You didn't do a lot though.
I did all the Disney parks, and I did Universal Islands of and Universal.
I couldn't believe she didn't do Busch Gardens, but
no, I didn't.
Couldn't believe it.
But we were putting them in, so oh, honestly, we went to Zadra. And we both stood there and was like, oh, this is so intimidating. So intimidating. But we went on it, and I can't say a bad word for it. Because
I'm not going to get started because you won't shut me up. So we need.
But Hyperion, not a fan. It's high. It's a good layout. It's great, but it rattles too much. Way too much.
It's got an awful vibration going on like most Intamins, unfortunately.
They do seem to develop a rattle, don't they? I've heard recently people saying that Sick has already developed the Intamin rattle.
We did Sick
last year.
We did it not long after it opened,
Last year,
and if you've seen our Flamingo Land vlog from last year, and we've put a POV up of Sick, you can hear us on the ride going around saying, "What is that noise? What is that?" And all you can hear is just like a rattling, and there's like a vibration that goes through the train, and yeah, it's just to hear. I mean, everyone's got their own opinions, but to hear that ride been classed as number one in the UK when you've got the likes of Nemesis and stuff, it's unbelievable. But I only heard that from the people that were at the press event.
Yeah.
So again, this is what we were talking about earlier on about the whole press thing, but yeah,
it was and we'll definitely come back to that in a bit because I think it's something it's something worth talking about, certainly. But yeah, as you say, and I mean, we all know Colossus rattles. You know, we know that.
Yeah.
It's 20
ride,
years old. You know, it's an old, yeah. And I don't know if you've seen that. Colossus track appears to be a full loop again. I'm very excited. I've seen pictures of a complete Colossus track again, because I happen to quite like Colossus. I'm not going to lie. I'm the right sort of size for it, so I don't have the problems that other people have of fitting in the ride, and I don't get the head rattle that a lot of people get.
It's certainly not smooth, but I think I would take
Colossus over Sick.
All that lets Sick down really is that rattle and the vibration, but going through them inline twists with a lap bar is just dreadful. It's just so uncomfortable. I mean, that's just my opinion, but you said it.
I was really uncomfortable.
We took my sister, who I think's in the chat. She'll probably put a comment up in a minute saying if she's still here, and her fiance. They said it was just too much going through that inline twist.
Even though we went back on it,
yeah, we went back on it because it's new and it's a coaster, and you're gonna do that, aren't you? But I don't know. For us, it was just a little bit. I think I would pick Colossus over that. Personally, I think it's better with the restraint, just for comfort. Personally,
I felt more safe with over shoulders, because I felt like we were going to fall out and slip out, and it just wasn't not great when you feel like that.
No, I agree. I'm heading to Flamingo Land in August, actually. I'm hoping that Stick will be fixed by then, because it's temporarily down, isn't it, at the moment? But
it's a great park. Yeah, have you been?
I've never been, and it's one I've wanted to get to. So I'm really quite looking forward to it.
I'll pre-warn you now. Don't listen to everyone and if they say that Hero is smooth, and because it's really not.
No, I don't think anybody says that Hero's smooth.
Right, hold on. I said to Dan, I went on this years ago, and I said, this is not a smooth ride. It is awful. He went on it the first time, came off, he went, oh, that wasn't too bad. Went on it later on in the day, and he went, I take all of that back.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I wasn't ranking it up there in my top 10. It just wasn't as bad as people made out, but I must have just had a decent ride, and then we went back on later in the day, and it bust me up pretty good.
I'm just waiting for James Coaster Chicken to swing by here, because he absolutely loves Hero, and and I'm just like, he's a voice in the noise, you know. He's like a whisper in the shouting of Hero's terrible, but he's adamant that it's not that bad. So I'm going to give it a go, because you know I like to formulate my own opinions.
Yeah, we'll probably go back on it. We're going Smiler.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I love. I love that everyone has different opinions on things. Did you ever get to do the ultimate at Lightwater Valley?
It's another park I've not been to.
No, I'm probably one of maybe few enthusiasts that jumped and cheered for joy when I seen that thing lying on the floor in a million pieces, because that was one horrendous roller coaster, and probably one of the worst I've done. Without a doubt, it was just ridiculously uncomfortable. I don't blame them for dragging it down. If I could have dragged it down single-handedly, I would.
I kind of have I'm a bit mixed on the opinion of it, but I think my overwhelming feeling is like that about Rattlesnake at Chessington. I think it just needs to be ripped down. It's so rough.
We love Rattlesnake.
Really? Do you not?
Genuinely gone.
Yeah, well, I seen somebody else calling for its head on Twitter.
No, I'm sure it was in my top 10 not that long back.
Yeah, but your top 10 isn't that.
Nobody was in there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if you can say that that's in your top 10.
I think it was like 10th.
People are going to be unsubscribing.
No, obviously this was before we'd been like,
you're going to have people unsubscribing, Paris. Stop talking.
I've never done that roller coaster and come off without an injury.
Yeah, I mean, it does bash you about, but it's one of them where it's just
before everything.
It's just a bit out of control and funny, and I just love it.
Yeah, it was number 10 before we'd been like anywhere.
Not for me, that's for her.
So obviously you touched on Phantasialand, which was one of your more recent trips, wasn't it? Which for theming is a complete contrast to Energylandia, isn't it?
Next level. Next level.
That completely different.
I love that steampunk theming. I think
Yeah,
They
it
don't
looks-
leave.
Ruckberg, or is it
There's no
Ruckberg?
stone unturned with anything they have done in that park. It is incredible.
It is great. It is
From Ruckberg,
every different
to-
area to Africa.
Africa, where Black Mamba is, to Clogheim, where Taran is. It's just, it will blow anybody's mind who has never been. Coaster Tog, if he's still here, he'll back me up. He went only a couple of weeks after we went. He was messaging as well. We were asking how it is, and he said that he's going over, and it's like, you are in for a treat. Everyone who's been, I haven't heard anything bad
One
said
thing
about it.
I will tell everyone to do, because it was the highlight of like our trip, because I couldn't stop laughing at you, and I'm so sorry, and I wish I'd have got it on camera. So in the Africa area, they've got like a treetop sort of thing, and Dan's afraid of heights, so he was like following me going up these like logs that are like this, and he went up, and he was like, "Paris, how do I get down?" And there was a fireman's pole to get down, or basically like a big square that you had to drop down or go back the way that he came. And he was going back and two about 4 times. And little kids were like pushing him out of the way to try and get past. And I couldn't stop laughing at him because he's like, "Paris, I can't get down.
I followed a woman after about 5 minutes of walking back and 2, thinking, I'm stuck here and I will stay here. I won't go down either way. And this woman sat down and reached her legs out, wrapped around the fireman's pole and went down. So I did the same thing, and I gripped on for dear life, and I come down so slow. I was like, I must be like squeaking going down the slope. And I got down, and I went, look, and I was like this.
He was shaking. Really
now I am scared of heights, so I won't go up ladders.
No.
If I was a window cleaner, I would specialise in bungalows. But I will go on roller coasters. It doesn't bother me at all.
No, it's mad.
Do you know?
If I go on the big one with him, I'm like, I want to sit next to the steps, because
I want to sit on the end
evac,
and hang over the edge and
like
stuff.
I probably wouldn't even get off because I'm afraid of stairs with gaps in. And he's there like, I'm afraid of heights, but I'll do an evac. And I'm like, no, I won't move. I would not move.
It's strange. It's strange.
I think I've got the combination of your two fears. I am terrified of heights, but going up on a roller coaster is fine because I know it takes you up. It's going to bring you back down quite safely. The thing I'm most terrified about is getting evacuated at the top of a lift hill. That absolutely terrifies me. And some are worse than others. For example, the swarm. I couldn't imagine any, because it's not just the gaps in between the steps. It's the fact that the actual steps have got holes in them.
Yeah.
So, they to me, they look flimsy. And I'm like, there's no way you're getting me. If I ever have to evac at the top of that lift hill, they're getting in a helicopter to winch me out. Because
you just be sat there and we'll all be going down.
Like, you're gonna have to knock me out and black me out or something to get me off. Because even walking up the steps to go on Revolution, I can't do it. I'm like this. And he's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like,
sometimes she doesn't go on Revolution.
I don't like it.
Sometimes she won't go on it because of the steps. Yeah.
And if it's windy and I can see it going, I'm like, nope. No chance.
I was I chickened out. One of the few rides I've actually chickened out of. I say ride attraction recently for that very reason is depth charge at Thorpe Park, because of that staircase that takes you. The water slides.
Oh, it's the water slides.
Oh,
we've never done them because I've done them at other places, and
to be fair, half of the time they're always turned off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got halfway up the steps last summer and went, no, can't do this. Absolutely can't do this. I think it was at the point where the ramps became steps.
Yeah.
And I couldn't handle it. I was like, no, I can't do this anymore. I've got to go back down. And
then you feel worse walking back down. You're like, I can't walk. I can't walk. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all.
See, Sam, I consider chickening out you've gone to do the ride and come away. If I've just said I'm not doing it, is that chickening out of a ride? I don't know. I did chicken out, or if that's the case, then I did chicken out of Stealth a few times at the beginning of the season.
But have you been on it? I
have been on it. And in fact, the last time I was at Thorpe Park, I did 2 front row blind launches. And it's the most amazing experience I think I've ever had on a roller coaster.
It's so exhilarating.
Stealth is
sure it's in your top 10.
Oh, it is. Stealth, I think, is such an underrated coaster. Yeah. You don't really hear that many people rave about it, and I kind of forget it, and then when I go on it again, I'm like,
my
that
gosh.
is absolutely.
It was literally like, let's go when we went and did our
It's the biggest adrenaline buzz that I think I've ever had on a roller coaster by far. That launch, and we've been on Red Force at Ferrari Land at Portaventura, 380 odd foot, 111 mile an hour, but it does not
launch is
pack
different
a
though, isn't it?
punch as much as Stealth does. Them
Even
hydraulic
Talon's
launches aren't anywhere near.
No, Talon's launch.
Sorry, those LSMs are nowhere near as powerful as a hydraulic launch.
No.
They're just gradual, aren't they?
I was going to say the launch on that is a rolling launch, isn't it? You're already rolling, and then you go. Whereas obviously Stealth is a standing launch, basically. You literally go 0 to 80.
Not quite as punchy as the hydraulic. I'm sure I've seen a documentary on it where I think with the extreme heat out in Spain, especially in the summer months, as we know, it was about 30 odd degrees. I don't believe they could have them LSMs running at the speed, at such a speed. You know, I think they've got to be like gradual. I don't know how true that is, but I mean, it would make sense if you think of the heat out there. I can't imagine a cable launch running.
We do suggest going though to Portaventura if you've not been. We've booked with Jet2, so we've got it as like a package. We've got hotel, flights, and transfers all included. So
yeah, there's some good deals about. I mean, you could probably do it a lot cheaper. We went and stayed off site last year, but it was about a 15-minute walk into the park for us, and you know. Yeah,
but you wasn't in a good
anyway.
Position.
You might want to ask us about Portaventura. Sorry, Darren, we go off on one.
No, absolutely no. But that's what I like about this show is that it's not structured. I've got a couple of questions, things that we can talk about, but at the end of the day, if the conversation just flows, it just flows, and we'll talk about whatever we talk about. It's, Portaventura is one of the places that, as I said, is on my list for next year. What we're going to try and do is a family holiday. So we'll do a couple of days in the parks and a couple of days just, enjoying the local beach and that kind of thing.
It's the perfect place.
So I gather.
You've got everything around, you've got your hotels with swimming pools on site or off site if you wanted to. You've got Salou that's it's in Salou, but you've got like the town of Salou just on the outskirts of the park.
The beach is
with a walk right down to the beach. There's restaurants, there's bars.
I walked down to the beach when we went because Dan suffered really bad with his sciatica.
I have a bit of sciatica, I had a bit of an issue when we were away and it flared up.
And
if you watch the Portaventura vlog, you'll probably see me limping. Actually, if anyone was wondering, I don't know if we addressed it in the vlog, but I was limping.
No, I don't think we did.
So Paris went out to get me some
I had to go I went to the market, which was just like round the corner from where we was, to try and see if they sold them. They were like, "Oh no, it's just a pharmacy," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, where's the closest pharmacy?" So trusty Google Maps came up, and it was like pharmacy on the beach. I was like, "Ooh, let's go to the beach." So I walked down. And
nice.
I was gutted because obviously Dan was still in the hotel room. I was like, oh.
We've said this time we're going to go and do
we're going to
do a beach day this time. When we went last time, we did.
We just did park.
Because with the hotel we're staying in this time, you get unlimited entry to the park. So we can pick and choose when we want to go in. So one morning we're going to go and have a few hours at the beach, aren't we? And then come back because Portaventura, Darren, is open 10 till 11.
It's crazy.
Or is it 11 till 11? No, it's 10 till 11, I think.
Crazy
11
hours,
at night,
honestly.
So you can choose what you want to do. You can go to the beach for a few hours and have a meal with the family at a little bar, and then you can come back and say, let's have a shower, and then let's go in the park for 6 till 11. You know, you've got 5 hours, and it goes dark about 10.
And it's cooler at night time as well.
It's not much cooler.
No, but it's cooler than midday.
But yeah.
Only British people go out in midday sun.
Oh yeah,
we're terrible, aren't we? We really are.
I'm ginger as well, so the sun out there, me and the sun did not get on.
You didn't get on, did you?
No. As soon as the doors opened on the hotel, I just went sweat like that.
He said to me every time, he was like, "Why did he even shower this morning? There was no point."
There's just no point in getting in the shower because as soon as you walk out the door, you're just sweating straight away. The guy on our transfer, the coach from the airport up to the hotel, our tour rep said, we're experiencing the hottest summer in years. And I was like, great. Just what the only ginger on the coach wants to hear. Bring it on.
I was going to say, everybody else is probably thinking, yeah. And I can imagine
he's like,
going, oh my God, no. Yeah. I imagine. I've got a patch at the top of the head and it burns very quickly. So I do have a degree of sympathy with you there, because you know, when I hear hot sun, I'm like, oh great, that means I've got to put that nasty sun cream on my head, which I don't like. I don't like the feel of sun cream, or I'm going to get burnt, really
Makes you feel
burnt.
dirty, doesn't it? Sun cream.
Yeah, it's like oily. And
it does.
Like,
yeah, and it doesn't matter how much they try and tell you, oh, non-greasy, it still feels greasy.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I'm yet to find one that isn't
dirty,
greasy.
You can't wait to get a shower and get it off.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, Adam's just saying that obviously Sean, Grumpy Theme Park Dude, and his good lady Poppy have literally just gone out to Portaventura now.
Yeah, we've seen.
Lovely. Hope they're having a good time.
I think they were. I did see a bit of rain. I think Sean said
it was probably nice though.
I tell you what, Darren, when it rains there, it really rains as well. The storm's coming out of nowhere, but you can really feel it.
You know it's gonna.
It's so hot.
It did it on the night time, so we got back to the
last night we got back to the room, and there was a hell of a storm.
We were literally just sat on the balcony watching, and you could hear the thunder just rumbling in. I thought,
I've never seen lightning like
and then
it.
the lightning was just bang, 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 and I got a cracking one of the lightning just flashing behind Red Force.
Yeah, I think it's on our Instagram.
Like,
wow.
Yeah.
It's on our Instagram, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go and have a look for that. Definitely. Because I love lightning. I from the age of 10, I lived on the coast in Wales, and during lightning storms, I used to go down to the beach because I used to love watching the fork lightning hitting the sea. It was just it's an amazing sight.
Oh, but yeah, when you get a flash of lightning here, and then it's gone, and then there's nothing. But out there, when I say there wasn't a break, I mean it was like someone just flicking the light switch on and off. It was just non-stop. I was like, this is crazy.
And we do suggest doing rec.
Now.
That's another one.
Okay.
So it's
Rec will be when I've set what time when we're going and things. I'm going to be contacting everybody that I know that's been to Portaventura for all their tips, because obviously Steve Thrills and Food has recently come back. Yourselves have been, Sean and Poppy. So I'm going to be contacting everybody for all their hints and tips and tricks, and
I will just show you if you can. Let me just.
That is awful. That is a terrible.
Wow.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't know how well that showed up, but
I saw that. Wow, that's incredible, isn't it? How does that thing not get hit all the time? Because it's
probably because Shambhala was still running.
Oh yeah, the rides were still running. Dragon Crown.
The rides were still running. You could see the lights of them still going, and we was like, "How is that even happening?" If that was over here, they would have been shut down. Yeah, but even in Florida,
because Shambhala's got lights on the train, and it was going up, and there was a lightning storm going on, just outside the park.
We were so shocked.
Everything was running.
It's a whole different level of health and safety, isn't it?
Yeah,
they don't care. Yeah,
you know,
they're
like, oh, whatever.
Shambhala, everyone's struck by lightning. Just like,
as long as you sat in the train, Faraday's cage effect, you're absolutely fine. You know, it's quite amazing, isn't it, that they just keep going like that. But so obviously with the European and sort of foreign parks that you're visiting, have you actually been to every single UK park now? Because I was sort of going through and trying to see if there were any obvious ones missing, and it didn't seem like there were many.
We've not been Oakwood, Drayton Manor.
We've got some on the list to do this year. Paris has never done Drayton Manor.
Great
Oakwood,
park.
I think the retracking of Megaphobia is a good excuse to go this year, so we're going to be doing that. We were going to hit up Alton's. It's a bit of a drive, and I think we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Again, there's no real thrill coaster there. It's more of a kid park. It's more of a family park.
Yeah.
But I think we need to go. So I think that would be on the list as well.
There's also Lightwater Valley that we've never been together.
Yeah, but there's absolutely nothing there, is there now? I mean, the Ultimate wasn't great, but I mean, I would have gone on it again. But there's nothing at Lightwater Valley.
I know, but I'm just saying.
There's nothing.
We've not done that one together. We have done it separately.
Yeah, Polton's Park is well worth a visit because Storm Chaser actually is. I actually found it quite. You know, it had some intensity to it. It's quite a thrill, and it is a beautiful park. It's so beautifully kept. You know, it's immaculately tidy. The grass is all, I say this all the time, the grass is all the same length right through the park. The hedges are all manicured. It's got this beautifully flat, smooth concrete car park. You know, it's a million miles away from Chessington and the dirt track.
And Alton Towers.
And Thorpe Park on the stone.
Alton Towers got potholes that go to the centre of the earth on that road out. And
they're just terrible, aren't they? Yeah.
Potholes.
Yeah, it's just not.
Yeah.
You think charging £7 for car park and they get a bit of time out, wouldn't you?
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? You would think so. Yeah. But Poulton's is lovely and it's well worth a visit. As you say, there's nothing with major thrills, but there are some nice coasters. Obviously, they've got a couple of them are Vacomas. They've got a Vacoma boomerang there, which was quite a nice ride. And then of course they've got Fly to the Pterosaur, which is a Vacoma. It's like a modern version of Vampire almost.
Yeah, the suspended.
It's more comfortable. It's a suspended, and it's a lot more comfortable.
Cobra, I'd like to do. Cobra looks fun.
Cobra was a lot of fun.
For bobsleigh, isn't it?
It is, yes. Yeah. Not a wild mouse like I thought it was. It is actually a Gerstlauer bobsleigh, and it is a lot of fun. And there's bits of airtime on that as well, especially as after it's finished all the looping around and things, as it's coming back towards the station. There's a couple of little airtime hills dipping through, and it is a lot of fun. I think we did it 3 times on the day that we were there, and it was great. You know, we absolutely loved it. So that's definitely worth a visit. Drayton, get there, definitely.
I've been many times, but I've not been for about 10 years. I used to go quite regular. We never had annual passes, but we used to go. You could get in for quite cheap. We used to go quite often. I actually contacted Drayton Manor. No one's going to believe me, but I have the pictures to prove it. I contacted Drayton Manor and asked them years ago. This was before parks got really serious about,
health and safety.
Well, not so much health and safety, but anyway, I contacted them and I said, "Is there any chance me and a group of friends could have a little behind the scenes?" Anyway, long story short, I wasn't doing anything. I think me and a couple of the lads we took a lot of pictures and stuff at the time and uploaded them, but we didn't have YouTube and stuff and all that. And we got behind the scenes of Shockwave and G-Force, and the mechanic actually, when the park opened, he took us up the ride exit and allowed us to. The group of us, I think there was about 5 or 6 of us, let us ride Shockwave. They actually held the public back, let us ride it on our own, and then they did the same with G-Force. And I actually, I kid you not, I got to dispatch. You've seen the video. I got to dispatch Shockwave.
Wow.
During its morning testing, the guy let us. We all took turns holding the button in, and it was going up the hill, and then we took our thumb off, and it stopped, and we all found it dead funny. But so
easily amused.
Drayton Manor was great like that, yeah.
And you look back at that now and think, geez, I wish I'd got that on video, because that's YouTube big footage, isn't it? You know, I dispatched.
I've got all the pictures on my personal Facebook page of the behind the scenes. Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah. And because I doubt they do anything like that now. Obviously, now that the looping group have got it, they seem to be very. I reached out to them, just purely, as I'm coming to vlog,
Where's this, Drayton Manor?
Do you have the Drayton Manor? Yeah. Do you do anything to do with collaboration? Anything like that? Didn't even get a no. Never got anything really as feedback.
We got a response when we
a while back.
All I've had from them. I asked to film on ride, and I asked if there was any kind of collaborator package or anything that they did. Literally, much to my disgust, actually, all they've done is the email address I supplied on the collaborators application form that I filled out. They've used to send me marketing stuff.
Spam.
Right. Okay.
They're using it to spam. Now, strictly speaking, that I was told that that's actually a breach of GDPR, because at no point does that form ask if they can use that email address for marketing, because it's my Anxious Rider email address. It's the one I only use for things to do with, my YouTube and Instagram and parks. So I'm a bit like, that's a bit naughty. Didn't couldn't, even just a no would have been absolutely fine, but nothing at all in any acknowledgement of the form I'd sent them, but happy to keep sending me these marketing emails. And I'm a bit like, all right, guys.
We contacted them in the early stages of us changing the channel and stuff, and we bought a GoPro, and we wanted to film on ride as soon as possible. So I emailed Drayton Manor from our Ginger and Brown email account, and they basically asked for a link for our YouTube
for all
stuff.
Socials.
So we sent them, and then we just got a response saying maybe when we're a little bit further along in our vlogging journey,
when you get more followers.
So
basically.
in a nutshell, it was the nicest way of saying when you've got like a bigger following, and you know what, that's fine. The park have got to get something in return. Drayton Manor actually do it a little bit different than some parks where you would just be allowed in and you're free to film, or they give you the sticker. Energylandia give you the sticker for your camera, so that staff and ride ops know that you have been given permission and the equipment's been checked off by security. Drayton Manor actually do send someone round with you and escort you onto the rides, I believe. And the camera's set up and so on and so on. So I think there's a little bit more goes into it, and I'm sure there's a full health and safety thing involved. And so I understand. I mean, it was like, that's fine. That is what it is. So we didn't actually go Drayton Manor. That put us off. It didn't put us off going. It just held us off going because we wanted to go somewhere where we could film. So we didn't go Drayton, and we went to Fantasy Island. Fantasy Island welcomed us with open arms, and they were like, "Yeah, you can film on the ride." And
they do seem to be.
But Drayton Manor, it's a fantastic park. I've not been for 10 years, so I can't wait to go back. And hopefully, like they say, when we're a little bit further along in our journey, we'll contact them again, and we might be able to film on ride. But if
absolutely.
not, then we'll still do a vlog, won't we, this year when we go? I think we're looking at going shortly anyway. Out.
It's definitely worth the visit. I visited for the first time ever. It wasn't that many weeks ago actually, and we loved it. It's a great family park because obviously there was me, there was my wife, G-Man who's 7, and little Elijah who's only 2, and actually there were rides for everybody, which was absolutely fantastic because he's not even. Elijah hasn't even reached 90 centimeters yet, but there were still rides that he could do. Whereas the Merlin parks, it's 90 centimeters or pretty much nothing really. Whereas there was quite a few rides for him there. Thomas Land was brilliant. I mean, he loves Thomas the Tank Engine, so that was perfect for him.
Troublesome Truck is superb.
Do you know what? It's a cheeky little coaster, that, isn't it? Because I was kind of like,
you need to get on it. It's great.
Yeah, it was. I sort of looked at it and went, they have, honestly, it was brilliant. It's very well themed to the Thomas.
It is, it is
franchise, and actually it rides really well. It's quite a nice, fun little ride. But
I think Drayton are definitely. I don't know if you would agree. Drayton are definitely the need in this new coaster. Would you agree?
Yeah,
I think with the area that they've just put in Vikings and the overhaul, the Buffalo coaster, and the only real, I know they're not going for they're not going down the route of like Alton Towers where they've got all the big coasters and Thorpe and stuff. They're going more family, aren't they, like Polton's? But the only big coaster that they've got that really attracts the teens is Shockwave. And now they've got rid of Apocalypse. You can see that so I think this new addition, this new coaster they're putting in will be like a family thrill for sure. But what it's going to be, I don't know what it's going to be. But then again, Icon, I think, is family thrill, isn't it?
Icon's it is family thrill. Yeah, it is. I think they need something to bridge that gap now between Accelerator and Shockwave.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that whatever they put in is going to be that middle, because literally you go from 1.2 Accelerator, 1.4 Shockwave.
What would you like to see?
I don't know, you see, because the thing for me is whatever they put in now is going to have to compete with Mandrill Mayhem.
Yeah.
And I think that's now a big ask. I think, Chesington.
I think I mean, we've not done Mandrill yet. No. We're going to look at doing it later this year. I think, and I've not done it, so I know people in the chat have probably been on it. I know Coaster Tug has. I don't know. I mean, I've heard that a lot of people looked at it before it opened and they went, "Oh, it doesn't look that good. It looks a bit meh. And then they've gone on it and said it's actually quite intense. It's a great coaster. I think that can definitely be beaten in terms of,
family fun.
Yeah, I think Drayton could definitely beat that. I mean, the Viking area, we've not seen it in person, but I think it looks great. So it shows the level of theming that Drayton Manor can do. They put a half-decent coaster in that section, one that appeals to teens and, young kids that can maybe take that next step up. Like you say with Mandrill Mayhem. That's the next step up from the likes of Vampire, their first inversion. Maybe they can put something in. Yeah, like Wickerman, but I'm thinking, do you think they'll go for an inversion in the new Drayton coaster? Do you think they'll maybe go time?
I mean, see, I'm kind of thinking now that maybe they've got to, that they're gonna be sort of pushed that way almost. I mean, I'm guessing that obviously they've got the plan already. They've decided on what they're doing, but I wonder whether they knew about what Chessington were doing and have thought, actually, maybe we need to go down that route because, as you say, it's the natural progression, isn't it? A coaster with one inversion is a great next step for the kids. I mean, Gabriel absolutely loves Mandrill Mayhem for that exact reason. It's got a launch, which he's never done before. It's got an inversion, which he's never done before. Perfect.
Oh, you've done it, haven't you?
Dream.
I've
done it. Yeah. I've done it 13 times now.
Oh wow.
And I like it.
So it's better than it looks.
Much better than it looks. Like a lot of people, when I first saw the plans, I thought, okay. But I was looking at it from a family perspective as well. I was like, but for my son, it's great. It's going to be great because it's got an inversion. And then I did it and went, actually, I really like this. This is a really, it's a good solid coaster. It's not going to, it's not going to. Yes, I think it is. And I think a lot, Vampire has that nostalgia value, doesn't it? We all love Vampire because of the nostalgia. It's been around for so long. It was a lot of people's first coaster, and that kind of thing. So, it has that attraction, obviously. But I think Mandrill Mayhem.
They don't like Rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I must admit, though, Vampire's getting a bit injury prone these days. I've had a few jabs in the spine.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit headbangy.
It's rattling around a little bit these days. Although I did hear a rumor that there's a retrack planned, and that they've been waiting, obviously, to get Mandrill Mayhem open, so that they can retrack Vampire. So I don't know.
Tell you what, Tazakura are going to be busy. If it's Tazakura, they seem to be doing everything else, don't they?
They do, yes, they certainly do. The other thing I was going to ask you about was obviously the Mardi Gras we were talking about. I appreciate we're running out of time. Actually, I didn't realise that an hour's gone already. No, it's lovely. No, I love it. I love it, guys. Like I said, it's natural conversation, which is much better in my opinion than me asking you questions. And Mardi Gras. I know you did Alton Towers Mardi Gras last year. Is that the only Parks Mardi Gras that you did?
Yes. It's all that we've done.
Ever so of far, any Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only one we've done.
And what did you think of last?
Last year was great. I enjoyed last year, and the year before. I think the year before I did like all my makeup, did gems. I went full blown Mardi Gras.
You forgot this year, didn't you?
This year I forgot. Last year.
You did some as well,
I think I did a few, but not as much as the first year. But
this year's event,
I fell flat.
I just didn't like the fact that everything was just concentrated to the bottom of Tower Street. I think the event last year and the previous years felt like it reached out throughout the whole park, as opposed to it just all been concentrated at Tower Street. That was our first thing when we walked in. We were like, oh, well, the stages are here.
They're all here. And then we went to Food Street and was like, oh, there's a few stages here. And then was like, oh, let's go ride the Curse, because obviously who doesn't go to the Curse straight away when they go to Alton Towers?
Without Nemesis, obviously.
Yeah.
When Nemesis is there, we normally
go. We were like, oh, let's walk straight there. So we did. And there was nothing. As soon as you turned off to go into Haunted Hollow, there was nothing.
You wouldn't think the Mardi Gras event was on anywhere else in the park other than Tower Street. And maybe that's just the way they're going with it now. I liked it. I like the fact that it made you head to different areas to see different shows. I quite enjoy going and catching different shows.
Yeah.
This time we didn't see any shows. We watched the starting parade and whatnot, or whatever it was at the start that you've seen, if you've seen the vlog. And then we didn't feel a desire to catch any of the shows, not even for the vlog. That's why there's no shows. There was no shows in the vlog at all.
I was gutted as well because the food options seemed so minimal. There was about 4 or 5, maybe 5 or 6 actually.
Yeah, Paris is
different food stalls. There was no Yorkie wrap. Being a Yorkshire lass, you want a Yorkshire wrap. I'm sorry, that wasn't there. The Greek stand wasn't there, which was a massive hit.
We had a Greek gyros last year, and it was
with
gorgeous.
halloumi and
it was a bit bland,
but it was great. We've had last year I think I had like pulled pork on cheesy chips or something like that.
Yeah, basically the food options
like
definitely seems a little less than last year. There maybe seemed 2 or 3 stalls less than last year. And the seating. Can anyone remember Can you remember, Darren, if the main stage was open for last year's Mardi Gras?
I don't know if it was because they had the floating bar, didn't they, on the lake?
Yeah.
Which
I thought was brilliant. I don't know why that's not come back. That was fantastic. Last year we sat on that was great. A food review, and it absolutely bounced down with rain. This year the sun was shining. And there just seemed to be limited seating
areas. Yeah,
there wasn't.
We were
enough
sat
seating.
actually on an accessible table, so obviously with someone who needed like a wheelchair or something because there was that limited amount of space.
Yeah.
Wasn't
the
great.
main stage. I think should have been utilised, and I think all the seating should have probably been out on the lawns,
everywhere.
Especially with the weather that we had. It was a weekend. The park was packed, and it just all seemed to be in one spot, as I say. But I don't know. I don't know if you're going to head down and check it out yourself, but it seems to have been very well received. Yeah.
Last year I did Thorpe Park's Mardi Gras and was bitterly disappointed. And one of the criticisms was exactly what you've just criticised Alton Towers for, which was all the shows were centralised on one stage, whereas the previous year that when they did what was it, the Park Vibes, they had even at Thorpe Park they had little stages dotted around, which was great. But Mardi Gras at Thorpe Park was very half-hearted. Food options were very limited. I thought didn't particularly like it. Went to Alton Towers, thought, wow, this is amazing because of all the performers in the different sectors. Loved all that. But if that's gone now and it's all been centralized, I'm kind of thinking, what they've done is everything that I criticized Thorpe for is what Towers have done this year.
We were really disappointed. We didn't even stay till 6. I think we left at 4.
And there was a big parade at the end of the day. Apparently the parade was great and there was like 30 plus performers, but
I'll be honest, I haven't heard anybody say a bad word about it other than us. But
it's not a bad word, it's just an honest word. That's what it is. It's an honest word.
Didn't hate it, just think that it was a step down from the previous years. And going on to the food there, that you know,
I didn't see much like
the food
I seen
pricing.
That someone were putting about like vegetarian options. I don't think I seen much.
The food pricing doesn't bother me if you're getting good quality food. Paris got some mac and cheese. If anyone's watched the vlog, you're going to see our reviews on it, but it wasn't the best.
No, it was
and
very
you're paying a premium price for some of these items,
£8
and it's got to be consistent. I don't know. It's a shame. It's a shame. I think last year and I think previous
Dan
years
loves cooking and he's done like a cooking course and things
I
like that. He came home and he was going, see, if I'd have made this Paris and sold it at this price, everyone would have loved it and come back for more. And I'm like, well, why don't you do it?
Absolutely.
Contact Alton Towers and just do it. But
I mean, obviously Sam is criticising the vegan options. Saying that they were rubbish.
I seen the jambalaya stall and I didn't go near that because
I was at.
It looked like a massive bowl of soup just uncovered, and there's wasps and flies going around, and I don't want fly jambalaya, so we didn't go near that.
Surely, if flies land in it, it's no longer vegan, is it?
No,
that's it. Yeah, insect jambalaya.
There wasn't much options, to be fair. It was quite.
The good news is the beer was spot on.
Yeah, but the beer cost bloody £7.
Yeah.
Was it 7 or?
They're like London prices, Darren.
Oh, honestly.
I must admit, I was at Oktoberfest last year and had a beer and almost fell over at the fact that, I'd gone up north or gone to the Midlands at least, where things should be cheaper, and was being charged the price for a pint of beer that I would expect to pay in the pub down the road.
I mean, I know it's
what in central London.
What do they call it? Supply and demand. So they know people are going to pay it. I don't mind paying. But you know, it was nice weather. There was good atmosphere. It was nice to sit and have a pint. I'll always have a pint at Towers. Atmosphere. It was okay. Yeah, we had a live band on.
Yeah, but it was okay. It was okay.
That's fair enough. I'm going to Thorpe Park on Saturday because obviously Ghost Train is opening on Friday.
Oh, we're looking forward to that.
Ghost Train opening Saturday?
Yeah. No, it's Friday. It opens.
I was going to say
Friday opens. Unfortunately, I've got to work, so I'm going to go on Saturday. So I'm going to obviously go and check that out. Check out Mardi Gras. See if they've made any improvements on last year because I was very critical of Mardi Gras at Thorpe Park last year. And in complete contrast, I went to Mardi Gras, or whatever it was called at Chessington, and was blown away. I mean, those guys
do really good stuff.
They do amazing events. They really commit to an event. Yeah. When they say we're doing Mardi Gras, it's literally obvious from the minute you walk through the gate right through the park.
But that's what it should
be. That it's Mardi Gras.
That's what it should be. It should be
absolutely.
Like
that is exactly. I mean, to be fair, Chessington isn't as big as Alton Towers. Can you imagine theming the whole of Alton Towers? That would cost a lot, and it would take a lot of time.
It won't cost that much. A bit of fabric's hardly anything, Dan.
Yeah, but they don't even cover it all.
But they pay £7 for parking. You're paying £7 a pint. You're paying £8 for some food.
But that doesn't go on expenses of theming up the park, does it?
No,
that
but
obviously comes from probably a set fund that they've got, and they're like, right, we've got X amount that they can spend on.
They'll
theming.
Be able to theme it.
Alton Towers is a huge park.
Yes, Sam.
I can't imagine being tasked with.
Yes, Sam, we are going to be.
I can't imagine being tasked with the job of theming that whole park up to suit Mardi Gras. Alton Towers is the biggest theme park in the country. I wouldn't want to be running around there all day putting bunting up, would you, Darren?
Yeah, but they do it. They do it. They do it overnight like
just
that.
Fly a plane over and just drop loads out wherever it lands.
Yeah, but Disney do it. If it can be done, it can.
They've got loads of minimum wage staff. I'm sure can do it.
No, because the UK is lazy. That's what it is.
See what I mean? How we go off, Darren? We just go off on one.
No, but it's a difference of opinion. That's fair enough. A successful relationship is based on having different opinions and then being able to argue quite competently about those opinions. I must admit I'm sort of tending to side with Paris here. I just think that it's a lack of effort. I agree it's a massive park. I agree they couldn't theme the entire thing, but even just the walkways. I'm not saying I expect bunting right across the middle, across the lake and everything, but just something that says that once you've left Tower Street, there is still a festival going on. Because otherwise you lose it, and I think sounds like and it does get lost.
This year
has really been lost.
Definitely lackluster. Yeah, you get the Mardi Gras experience in Tower Street, and then the food street is, and then that's it. It just ends.
Yeah, it just goes. Minus when you're walking down by where you can feed the fish. They've got a couple of photo ops. Yeah, and then you go past that, get to Battle Galleons, and that's it.
Yeah, it seems to just be concentrated to one area, and that's it.
Gone.
Yeah.
It does sound disappointing. Let's hope that, obviously, as Costa Tog mentioned, Sub-Terra is also reopening this weekend.
I've never done that, so that's going to be a good one for me.
It was gone before I started.
Have you never done it? No,
I've never done it. I'd like to go and do it. I don't know if it's enough to make me come to Towers. Because
I would say based on
I'm not a Drop Tower fan.
Yeah, I think it's more the storytelling and the experience that's more enjoyable than the ride. The ride is just a one-trick pony, and it's no different. Actually, I'm not even going to spoil it because if I'm sure everyone here knows what it is, but I won't talk about it anyway.
They might have changed it up anyway. They could have changed the story to obviously fit.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the story will have changed up a little bit.
We've slowly got darker and darker, so I do apologise. I'll try and flick a light on.
I did Sub-Terra in 2012 on opening day, the day that it opened.
That's better.
And I come off massively disappointed. Disappointed. There was a lot of effects that wasn't working, and the ending was a bit. And then they changed the ending up and put live scare actors in, and that made it a little bit better. But when it shut down, I wasn't too disappointed. I see a lot of stuff on Twitter, and I'm sure you guys have all seen it in the chat, and you, Darren, of people saying, "Oh, all those people that slagged Sub-Terra off when it was open, and now they're all made up that it's returning." I'm probably one of them people, but I'm made up that it's returning because of the lack of
things. Because retro
the ride availability at Alton Towers lately is poor. I'm sure we can all agree on that.
Rita was down, Gal was down.
Let me finish. You've got Nemesis that's shut. You've got rides breaking down all over the place. You've got the awful retro squad rides.
Can't run a rain.
I think that's sorted now. I think it can. You know, and I just think ride availability is a little bit poor. There's not really been
nothing new really since.
Yeah, I mean there has, but
there's been Gangster Granny, but even that.
Yeah.
Once you've done it once,
I'm just glad to have another attraction open that can dilute the queues and take the stresses and strains off some of the other rides, especially Galactica, which is the main draw in Forbidden Valley. Because let's face it, no one's going down there to ride Blade and Funk and Fly. You know what I mean? So don't get me started on the Retro Squad. They need to go immediately. But I'm just glad to have another ride open that's another permanent attraction for people to go to,
and that's linking to Nemesis.
And will definitely take the edge off the other attractions. I hope you agree with that. I'm sure you do.
No, I actually agree totally with you on that, because one of the reasons why I'm a little bit reluctant to make as many trips to Towers this year is obviously it's quite a trek for us. It's about 2.5 hour drive each way. And I've done it in the summer when it's busy, and that was with Nemesis open. And I'm sort of thinking, right, well, you're a ride down, but you're not, that's not going to, you know, that number of people aren't now not going to come to the park. You're still going to get the same number of people through the door. So actually what's going to happen is that the ride queues for everything else are just going to be that much longer. And I'm sort of like, it makes me just a little bit reserved about.
I get that rides go down and stuff, but I just don't know why it always seems to be the Merlin parks.
What bugs me is when we've gone to these European parks, they're down for like
Fly broke
5
down
minutes.
on us for 15 minutes, right? Fly broke down 15 minutes. In 10 minutes, there was empty trains going around and it was reopened.
Yeah.
The Germans know what they're doing.
It's not just anywhere. You don't really see rides down. But once you go to a Merlin park, you can guarantee a ride will be down straight away.
I love Alton Towers to bits, but yeah, ride availability
it's so bad.
Just seems to have gone a little bit downhill in the last couple of years. But yeah, anyway, get it reopened.
I think that seems to be actually quite consistent across Merlin parks. Whether there's a lack of maintenance going on during the closed season, I'm not entirely sure. But there certainly seems to be an issue with ride availability across the board. And as we say, with no Nemesis now, and you know, and Enterprise has gone, of course, because Enterprise was a queue gobbler, wasn't it? You know, it's one of those rides. It will suck up queues quite quickly. It'll eat up queues.
You could see Nemesis on a 60-minute queue, and in no time at all,
it'd be half an hour. It'd probably be half an hour. 20
Nemesis
minutes.
was the biggest. I agree with that. Nemesis was, and I've said it for years. Nemesis is the biggest queue eater that there is. You've got Hex. Hex is down as well.
It's been down for a while. That one.
Hex has been down. Hex was open earlier in the year.
Yeah, because we went on it, and
now it's
it's gone again.
It's just
it's as you say, it's that reliability, isn't it? That you sort of go, well,
Dark Forest,
something needs
Dark Forest is, and Dark Forest is crying out for a flat ride.
Yeah.
I
think it is.
But I know, but what I'm saying is there was a flat ride there. They've got rid of it to put picnic benches.
Yeah, I think it's crying out for a flat ride there.
Yeah, I think they need some serious investment in flat rides. That's the thing. If they had some decent permanent flat rides, I've said this time and time again, and people have agreed with me in general. Some decent permanent flat rides that would eat up some queues would be, you know, a great addition and an essential addition. Now we've got to a point where it's become essential that they get these flat rides in, rather than these fairground, you know, mobile rides that they're borrowing from wherever they're borrowing them from, that look old and decrepit when they arrive, and then by the end of
I
the
heard
summer,
that they were on
they
a
look.
3-year deal. So hopefully,
It was the fact that
hopefully at the end of this season, that's it.
it's the fact that you were like, "Oh, let's go try this Twistertron," and I looked at it and went, "I'm not going on that."
Have you been on that
And he went
Twistertron
on it,
yet?
and he sat there and he was
Oh.
like, "What is this?"
Oh my god! I'd rather sit in this chair.
Get rid of why they got rid of Enterprise to put that there is
Yeah.
beyond me.
I mean, Enterprise technically you could class as a bit of a travel ride, but it was just there that long. It
But
became
it was
a permanent
brilliant.
edition.
It was better than
Well, it
all
wasn't.
the.
I mean, it wasn't brilliant,
but it was better than all the
yeah,
retro squad rides that they
it
put
was.
in.
But it was permanent
Yeah.
and it was somewhat
Fitting.
themed.
Yeah, it was
I mean, I
fitting
wouldn't
to
say
the
it was
area.
themed, but yeah. Anyway,
I did Twistertron, and for me, I thought it was all right. It wasn't setting the world alight for me. The cycle was too short. It was a bit rough. Much preferred Spin Jam. Just don't think it was. I don't think it was a great swap for obviously losing. It was the waltzers, wasn't it, that went?
Yeah,
the waltzers went, and then Twistertron came in, yeah, and Enterprise went with it, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think it's not a. I could understand if it was a 1 year temporary thing while they, while they saw some decent flats, but it doesn't look that way, does it? It's been
not
3
COVID,
when it started off, I heard that it was a 3-year deal, and I was praying that that wasn't, but it seems to be the case. But I'm sure they've got something up the sleeve. I think towers are now going in the right direction. You've had the Curse overhaul. You've had the Nemesis retrack that's happening. You've got Project Horizon. They've put a new control panel in and new software on Sonic Spinball, which I hoped would have maybe been one of the next ones to go. But it looks like that's going to be staying. I'd like to see Rita pulled out. I'm sorry to any Rita fans. I'd like to see that pulled out. Put a nice Intamin Blitz in there, like Taran or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that will happen.
I must admit, I'm not a great lover of Rita.
No, I'm not.
It's a bit rough. I don't know.
Need the top hat, doesn't it?
It almost feels like a tame attempt at stealth.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They couldn't have the height.
You've got the launch, and then that's it. What have you got after that?
Yeah.
A head bashing.
A rough bit of track.
The launch and 12 rounds with Tyson Fury in about 20 seconds. That's what it is.
Yeah. I agree. I'm totally with you on that one. I find Rita rough. I'd much rather do stealth. It's a much smoother experience, even though it's a more impactful launch. It's still overall a smoother ride. I think Rita's showing her age, and maybe they do need to look at replacing her. But I think as we say, I think across the Merlin estate, there's a lot of rides now that are coming to that sort of age where maybe they need to look at replacing them.
Maybe as a money saving option, they'll put LSMs on it and new trains and do that.
No, I doubt it.
I don't know. They could do that. I don't think it's the track that's causing the issue. I think it's the trains. You never know.
They keep it how it is before.
They might do a top thrill dragster and put LSMs on it.
You never know. They certainly have an ability to surprise us, don't they, Merlin? With
we've got 3 travel rides at the country's biggest theme park. So whatever comes from this, nothing will surprise me. Yeah,
I totally agree. It's it's going to be it'd be interesting to see where they do go with it, because I think they are starting to overhaul parks. That the new coasters are coming in.
100%.
And I've heard that there are plans now to bring in new rides every couple of years. They've set that in stone, and I wonder whether that's because of the new CEO of Merlin, who is seems better. Seems like he's got a bit more of an idea of a direction and things, and and is going to make things happen. Which let's face it, it needs to happen. So I'm quietly optimistic that the flats and new coasters at Alton Towers will be addressed, because otherwise they're spending all this money building new coasters at Chessington, Legoland, and Thorpe Park. But obviously, yes, you've got Horizon and the retrack of Nemesis, but that isn't a new coaster per se. Whereas they've built they've got the country's first Mack hypercoaster they're building at Thorpe Park, the country's first B&M shuttle coaster has gone in at Chessington. They're building dueling boomerang coasters at Legoland. I think it's not
They've
fair.
just opened a winged. They've just opened a wing coaster, Lego Mythica, isn't it? Is it in Legoland?
Yeah, but that's not
Not
in the
sure.
UK.
Was it
I
Billund?
wonder
No,
what-
that was just started to Merlin
No, I know,
Park.
but I wonder what they're going to do with the Alton Towers indoor one.
Project Horizon.
No, that's Thought Park.
Project Horizon.
Horizon's
Thought
Alton
Park?
Towers.
Yeah, I'm still training her.
No.
Oh,
Exodus is Thorpe
that's
Park.
the one, Exodus. I'm
Yeah.
so tired. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you keep
No,
seeing me
no,
rubbing my
no.
eyes, I have been up since 10 to 5, so I'm not like
Bless
falling asleep.
you.
I'm just like my eyes are sore.
No, it's fine, guys. Obviously we did say we would keep it to hour and a half because I appreciate you guys have been at work and and everything else. So I mean, I'm sure we could talk for hours, but we will wrap it up because you guys clearly need some sleep, and I don't want to have to go through the rest of the night thinking.
Go, by the way.
No,
I just wanted to let
I know you
know
weren't. I
that.
know you weren't saying that at all. I know that's not what you were saying. But I do remember we did have a conversation saying, hour and a half. And I said to you, no, it will be no more than an hour and a half. And I'm a man of my word, if nothing else. So we will wrap it up tonight. But I'm definitely going to get you guys back because I've had a lot of fun, and it's and I think maybe next time what I'll do is I'll get Karen in as well to co-present with me. And then we can have couples rows going on, and I think that'd be.
Well, I'll tell you what, Darren, what we'll do is we were talking about it just before we come on air. Basically, when we get our Friday Night Live chats going again over close season, we'll get you on for a chat.
Mm.
And
I'd love to.
we just sit for about 3 hours. If you ever watched them, we just sit for 3 hours, drink, and
maybe more.
Talk about all sorts. So we'll have you on for that as well.
I'd be well up for that. Definitely up for that. You let me know, and I'll be there. Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you for tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've talked about so much, and yet you're sort of like, I now sit here going, what did we talk about? We've talked for an hour and a half. What have we actually spoken about? And I think it's everything is the answer, isn't it? We've kind of covered just so much in that time. But it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys, as I knew it would be, because obviously I've met you both in real life. And you are both such friendly people and lovely people, and
thank you.
And it translates in lives like this that genuinely nice people. And I look forward to seeing you again soon at a park. Whenever that may be. If you're coming down south at some point, you've got to come back to Thorpe Park.
We will be. We've got Chessington, Thorpe, and
we're doing Chessington, Thorpe, and Legoland.
We do like a 3-day sort of thing
during the 6 weeks holidays, I think, when you're off. So I think we've got that plan definitely. We might try and get a cheeky trip down to one of them beforehand.
Before I graduate.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
but if we do,
let me know.
We will.
Absolutely, let me know. Especially Thorpe Park and Chessington, because they're my two local parks, and it would be absolutely amazing to come and and have a day just doing the coasters together and putting the world to rights.
I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat as well.
Yeah, thank you everyone.
Make sure you go and subscribe to us,
and subscribe to obviously that way. Sorry, Anxious Riders as well.
Yes, I've included the links for your Instagram, your YouTube, and your TikTok in the description for tonight's show. So people who want to subscribe and follow, please do. Ginger and Brown, absolutely amazing people, great content, great logo, great couple rows. It's it's all there. It's all there. Go and give them a subscribe, and if you've got time, hit the subscribe for me as well. But definitely get subscribed to these guys. Thank you very much tonight, guys. As I said, I'll let you go now, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. So I'll see you later. Take care.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
So yeah, there we go. Dan and Paris, Ginger and Brown, absolutely lovely people. Thanks to everybody tonight for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please join us on Saturday, as I said, 7 o'clock, where I'll be having a bit of a chinwag with Nick from Walking with the Woods, talking about girl bands that we remember and that we loved. And on Monday, I've got Dave and Kaz coming in for a back chat to talk all about their cruise, which I'm having watched some of the vlogs that have come out of that, especially the embarkation one. It looks like they had an amazing time. So please join me on Monday to talk to Dave and Kaz about their trips, their cruise, and of course their recent visit to Chessington, which I was part of. Yeah, so all it leaves for me to say now is good night to everybody. Thanks for watching. If you're watching it on replay, thank you for choosing to watch it. And if you're free on a Monday night at 8 o'clock, you can come and join us in the live chat, because it's always great to hear from people. Until then, take care for now, and I will see you all very, very soon.